This episode contains coarse language. Discretion is advised. Welcome to another episode of Tech Society. For all your tech and business analysis and other important topics that revolve around technology and modern society. Hosted by tech entrepreneurs and whiskey enthusiasts, John Newen and Alex Dunmo.
Today we have on the show the Wolf of all streets, Jeremy Wolf. Jeremy consults for JPC Corporate, assisting businesses in effective structuring to reduce their operational risk. He also owns and operates ERVDI, an Indigenous-owned and operated tech company. Jeremy has combined his past in building startups with his knowledge of business structuring, and today brings to us valuable lessons for any entrepreneur.
All right, so Jeremy, tell us a bit about yourself. Give us the elevator pitch for who Jeremy Wolf is.
Oh, okay. Let me start at the beginning. I didn't start out in business. I actually started out in hospitality. That actually led me into business. So I used to be a chef, came over here following the mining boom, worked...
Oh, so you're not a Perth boy?
No, I'm from the Apple Isle, Tasmania.
Oh, shit.
Best produce in Australia, hands down.
So you're like a refugee?
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. I came over in 2011 and did the mining circuit, so worked onshore and did a bit of mining there and then on the rigs as well. So did a bit of hospitality work onshore and offshore. That led me into trying to start my own software company.
Whoa, how did that lead you into starting your own software company?
Just inefficiencies. I'm the kind of person that doesn't like filling out
forms.
Yeah, forms. And that's literally all I was doing for a while. Okay. Yeah. So the need to effectively stop filling out forms led me to start a company called Take 5 Safety Solutions, which initially focused on taking a paper-based form and putting it on a mobile device, and that very quickly led into IoT, so using sensors that measured the temperatures in cool rooms and ovens and updated proprietors accordingly if levels were out of whack with what they were supposed to be. So i.e. if your fridge doors left open, you would get an alert so your meat didn't go off.
So is this something that was already in place in the market?
No. Actually, I think we were probably 2 years too early. We put this thing together and bootstrapped it, which meant by the time I'd actually gotten the hardware and the software developed, we were completely out of cash and had nowhere really to go with it other than getting a few Perth-based contracts sorted. And then the universe, unfortunately, just didn't smile on us, and everyone that I was kind of working with on the back of the mining shutdown kind of just disappeared, and there was a couple of insolvencies and whatnot.
So Take 5 kind of hit its launch point just as the mining boom ended.
Yeah, pretty much. So we had locked in a couple of mining contracts, we were talking with the larger caterers like Compass Group, Spotless, Delaware North, etc. On the back of the mining boom, they were just being hammered, so their margins were being completely destroyed. So any, I guess, spending on what would be, I guess, classified as extracurriculars at the time just disappeared completely. Yeah, no one was willing to put their balls on the chopping block to get efficiencies.
So just to take a few steps back for people who aren't in mining or I guess service industry stuff, Take 5 is where you actually have like a list of things. You take 5 minutes to fill in this form that says this is safe or this has been done, etc., etc.
It's a safety thing.
So I've never filled one out in my entire life.
I've filled out thousands. It's a safety thing designed to obviously bring you into the present, assess your situation, and actually put your brain in gear to make sure that you're not exposing yourself. Yeah, and at the same time, it's a liability thing for your employer.
In these kind of industries, generally, just the fact that you've done it every day for the entire, for 10 years doesn't mean anything. One day you'll still miss something, right? So Take 5 is like a purposeful, take you out of your zone and make you say, yes, I definitely.
Yeah. It's to stop complacency.
So you created a company to make that bit easier.
Yep.
And you started the software development, and then you realized that IoT would be a good value add to it.
Yeah, well, I guess, again, I was a chef. I was good at cooking things. But as far as thinking, I guess with innovation, rather than just trying to fix the product that's directly in front of you, you've got to think, this is from experience, you got to think 5 years ahead, i.e. the first rendition of Take 5 was taking a paper-based form which was attached to a fridge and mapping those fridges and allowing the person filling out that form to use their phone and having that data put into a database. It was as simple as that. But as that was effectively brought into fruition, out started popping the Bluetooth Wi-Fi devices that would effectively do it for you. So I got to a point where I thought, yep, I can go and sell this now. And then all of a sudden I was dealing with a completely new and innovative.
And you entered the tech world.
Yeah, that's it. 360 from there, then went very heavily into the IoT space. Yeah. And that then came with its thing of problems as well.
So interestingly enough, that's how you met John.
Yeah, John worked on Bluetooth sensor. We spent many countless hours working out why it wouldn't work.
And so it's funny you said you're a chef by trade, because to our understanding, you're an accountant by trade.
Yeah, I know. I dabble in the dark arts there as well. Well, I had to get out of chefing. Chefing was number one, chefing, very sweaty, and not much money. Accounting, still not much money, but less sweat.
I love that career trajectory though. It's great. Yeah.
I don't know if I'd hang my hat and say I'd be an accountant. I'm not your traditional, I guess, tax accountant. I'm more of a value add accountant.
Yeah. So I guess in the spirit of transparency, we use your services through through Ninja Software, and we describe you to other people as an entrepreneurial accountant. We're also very impressed in your just entrepreneurial nature, even outside of that. You've got many side hustles.
Yeah. Perhaps too many, but you got to be in it to win it, right?
So where was your inspiration from, like just jumping into all these things, and do you want to list all the things that you do? If you're comfortable.
Yeah. So I work full time at it's a firm called JBC Corporate in West Perth. Yeah. We deal a lot with distressed companies and businesses, but also very entrepreneurial firm.
You help make sure people aren't leaving money on the table, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If there's money there to be gotten out, whether it be through, I guess, franking accounts, R&D, tax incentive, EMD, grants, we'll look into that for you.
And we've got that expertise.
That's my plug.
Yeah, people kind of assume that accountants do that naturally, but our
don't.
experience is they don't. Yeah.
Two types of accountants. There's an accountant that will call you come May every year and make sure that you're locked in for your yearly tax return, which they will tick all the boxes for.
He doesn't want to look at it until you balance the books yourself too. Yeah, like he's not really doing that much.
No. You call that, I guess we call those guys the suburban accountants.
Yes.
And then there's the accountant that will call you monthly and make sure that you are locked in to, I guess, get as much value back out of your business as possible on a month-by-month, quarter-by-quarter basis. Yeah.
Still classified accountants though.
Yeah. A value-add accountant is what I would put.
Yeah. And from our experience and what we're experiencing now is that's super important, because I cringe at the thought of the tens of thousands of dollars we've left on the table over the years.
Yeah.
And it's a very common problem, right?
Yeah.
Across many businesses.
I think so. I run into it a lot.
I don't think most entrepreneurs have that mentality. They want to create and sell. Yep. The looking for making sure housekeeping's done and every potential gain and saving is captured is not. I don't think that's a natural thing that most entrepreneurs
Well, it comes a lot down to understanding what is available from incentive point of view, and the Australian government is very generous, right? But if you don't plan for that,
Then they're the opposite of generous.
not so much the opposite of generous, but you're just ineligible. I.e., I'll give you one example, right? R&D tax incentive, which is 43, at least for now, 43.5 cents back in the dollar for any piece of eligible R&D expenditure that you incur developing a new or novel product that can be sold. You need to be a company to do that. And unfortunately, I get businesses rolling through the door that have significant amounts of R&D expenditure, completely eligible. We're a trust. And it's just bad structuring advice.
I mean, they could just own the company with the trust, right? Like,
exactly. Yep. Yeah. There's times for a trust. There's times to incorporate, and if you're looking for R&D, companies where it's at. Yeah.
We've plugged your day job. Tell us about Engine Room.
Engine Room was founded kind of by chance. We do a little bit of, management consultancy. So myself and a couple of business partners, we focus on process improvement, project management of software projects, as well as making sure that within that management you're ticking all the boxes for any potential grants or incentives that may be announced or are currently being offered. Basically, that's about it. Really, it's a really, we're kind of a new stage, a new venture, but we picked up a couple of projects. It's good.
So that's one of your side hustles. You've got a tire wholesale.
Yeah, we do. Tire Giant.
You've sold us tires.
www.tiregiant.com.au.
So what
for the cheapest tires in Australia?
Did you just get up one morning and thought to yourself, man, I should sell some tires?
I was in a room at the right time, and we did a deal, and now I have a tire wholesaling business and retailing business. Yeah, it's a reasonable little gig. We're getting some orders over the line, and I recommend anybody with worn down tires to have a look.
Very nice.
Sorry guys.
No,
it's actually really interesting because they're so different from the other things that you do.
Yeah,
but there's a common thread, which is like small scale startup.
It's side hustles, and my like what I've noticed is that it's a massive thing people are pushing right now. You've got your Tim Ferrisses, your Gary V's, like selling this spirit of side hustles and creating ventures that generate an annuity without taking too much of your time and effort, right? And you're the only person I've met who's actually doing it.
Well, look, I'm trying. I'm not advocating that I'm there yet, because I am putting a lot of time into these things.
Of course, well, they always take time. That's what these guys don't oversell, is that you've got to spend a lot of time setting them up.
Yeah.
What's some quick like lessons you've already learnt in your?
I guess here's one that I am still learning, and that is don't take on too much and expect it all to happen at once.
You're also a father of 3.
Yeah, that takes up quite a significant amount of my time. Don't take on too much. I guess plan and utilize resources where possible, and look at efficiencies. Make things as efficient as possible so the end annuity, I guess, starts paying dividends without you putting in your personal time. That's my goal, is to build these things so I'm not effectively selling my personal time anymore.
To me, that is the biggest lesson in life for any businessman, side hustler. Your time is the most valuable resource you have, and if you're wasting it or giving it away for free, you need to stop doing that.
Yeah, 100%, absolutely.
And having a kid, for me, I've obviously just had one, and suddenly I realized, oh fuck, like I get home from work and you get an hour or two with them, and you're like, oh shit, like this is fleeting.
Exactly. Here's another bit: don't discount the power of measuring your business. So put time and effort into understanding what the revenue drivers are, what the cost drivers are, and working on how to make those more efficient.
directing your time to parts that won't pay as much back. Like
Absolutely.
identifying the shit that will pay you back is number one.
Okay.
I want to know more about funding.
Oh, he wants to know about funding.
I do. So let's say I started a new startup, Take 6 perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
And, bootstrapping is all nice and good, but I don't...
12-minute abs? I'm doing 11-minute abs.
yeah, you're taking 6 now. So that's the thing where there's a lot of people out there who do, they go FIFO for a while. They get a nice
nest egg. If they don't spend it on jet skis, they...
Yes. Let me just run into that. The jet ski economy is doing well. people are selling jet skis, which means that the economy itself is not doing well.
It's a classic indicator for Perth.
But I spent all my money on jet skis. So now I want to start a jet ski tracking app called Take 6, right? How do I get funded? I don't have the bootstrap money anymore because I spent it on jet skis.
You don't.
Where are you at? What have you spent it on?
Well, there's different stages of a startup, right?
It's got a cool logo.
I've got an idea.
You've rolled into your standard marketing agency. They've taken you for 30 grand and you've got a pretty standard business plan, a landing page and a logo.
Like how far do you really have to be before you start asking for money?
The amount of times this happens. In fact, the best bit of knowledge that I can impart on you guys, and this has happened to me, is don't take your concept or idea to a marketing agency. You're better off taking it to a developer. You're better off focusing on your product over how the product looks, because where I ended up is I spent the majority of my startup bootstrap capital on effectively polishing a turd, right? It looked great, but I didn't have the substance to back it up, and that's where my sell fell down. I was selling a chicken and an egg scenario. It looked fantastic, but I hadn't actually spent the money on priming my product and getting it to a point where it worked.
Surely it buys you time to be able to sell the product as if it was a product that's complete. Or are you saying it's better to go stealth mode?
Yes. In my experience, I think you're better off to go stealth mode, bootstrap the product and prove that it works, rather than throwing a significant amount of... If we're talking specific bootstrap capital, don't throw it at flashy bling. You don't need to look like $100,000 entity and then have nothing to show for it. Well, you look fantastic. Can I take the product today? Oh, no. You can't. I'm sorry. It's not ready yet. I'm hoping you'll sign up as a foundation customer so I can throw all my money into developing and effectively running through 1,000 problems to fix stuff that I haven't considered out, and hopefully it'll all work out.
But now you've interested like another chicken and egg problem where I, as a founder, may not be technical and I do not have the cash, but I have the will and the vision to want it to happen. And now I'm actually being devil's advocate here. I do not agree with this. In case anyone's listening.
I just wanted to jump in. Fuck you and your idea.
No, it will change the world. It's guaranteed to change the world. I just need $1 million, right? What do you tell to those people? Do you just tell them, hey, you should learn to program, you should learn to build stuff, Like, what do you, or you should find some funding. But then I say,
my advice to those people is, how good at selling are you?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I actually would have said, if you ain't got money, you ain't got skills, you're not going to get any money to pay the bills. Like, you got to have one, right? Yeah.
Put it this way, what was that? And look, we are definitely not Silicon Valley here, right?
Fuck no.
There is a lot more money going around Silicon.
Even in Sydney, I mean...
Google Juicero, man.
The juicing thing, yeah.
I really wanted that product. And then,
who invested in that?
Someone
How
did.
did they sell that?
Well, that's it. They got funding, right, for a product that was kind of half-baked.
And it didn't just get funding, it got significant funding.
I really want to talk about Juicero.
Let's talk about it.
Because I was looking for a juicer that I didn't have to clean, because fucking cleaning sucks, right? And Juicero came out at the same time as this other one. The other one, actually, you put real stuff in a bag, and then it did 8 tons of pressure or whatever it is to get juice out of it. And I was like, that's fucking cool. These guys came out and it looks like the same product, except the bag is their juice.
Just juice.
Right? And it's just a subscription plan. It's a fucking expensive device with a subscription juice bag. And I'm like, why? Oh, the investors liked it because they love subscription models.
Yeah.
And they never looked at it close enough to be like, wait.
The only thing this thing, look, I've watched a fair few YouTube videos on it. Number one, you could squeeze out the juice by hand and still get a glass full of juice.
It's just a bag of juice, right?
The only thing it had going for it, the only thing it had going for it was this juicer, if you put a bag that had actually passed its use-by date, it wouldn't juice. That's the only. That's
actually
only
really
claim
impressive.
to fame it had.
It's not. It has a QR code on it.
It was a QR. Yeah,
that's an engineer. That's impressive
Yeah, but
engineering.
you could do it with an app. You don't need this expensive device.
They spent all this money to develop a QR code.
So they came out like at the same time as these guys, Juicero, Guysir, and it
Juicero.
looks almost like the same product, except these guys you actually put, you put fruit in a bag and it squeezes them.
So you physically yourself put your own.
That's right. Yeah, it makes sense, right? It's a product that at least makes sense. I don't actually think these guys got successful, but when I was looking at the two, I'm like, wait a minute. And this was before the world had already gone, hang on, guys, this Juicero thing. Because I remember when their world came collapsing, like when their whole world fell apart was when, was it TechCrunch actually bought one and got the bags, and then they just opened the bags themselves and squeezed them into a glass, and it's exactly the same.
They got exactly the same amount.
So it's all about polishing.
It was a gimmick.
Yeah.
But that gimmick, what did they raise? 100 mil?
They got funding. There you go. You know, that brings me back to my original point.
What the fuck do you do with 100 mil with a juicer?
$118 million in funding. From Google Ventures, no less, was one of the
Google
VCs
themselves.
that backed them.
That's a clear case of Silicon Valley has too much money, right?
Yeah, you're not
that's
going to
true.
get that in Perth.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not even going to get that in Sydney. But Canva's a great example of a potentially promising product, and they couldn't find any money in Perth. And they were only asking for, I think it's like 100,000 or something. I actually don't know the amount, but it wasn't much, and they couldn't find it here.
From hitting up, and look, I've been involved in fundraising in Perth over the last 7 years. The general saying in Perth to the Perth listeners is, if it doesn't come from the ground, you're fucked.
Or it's not property.
Well, there's been a big change. Like the whole startup space has changed a lot. We got co-working spaces. We got awards nights. We have all this stuff that's happening. So people are trying to make a difference.
And they have been for a while. But I think
more recently,
investment diversification has proven itself to be important, and the tech sector is the only one that's really boomed through COVID.
Even Perth, you see.
To answer your question though, John, take 6. I had a bunch of jet skis for hire. I want to track those jet skis just in case we get some customers that want to take them a bit further than they're supposed to take them. And I want funding for it. I'm going to make a lot of money. My best advice is, number one, make sure you've got answers to questions that are going to be asked, i.e., what are you going to spend my money on?
Yeah, exactly.
If I'm going to give you $1 million, what are you going to spend it on? Tell me exactly what you're going to spend it on. How much money are you going to get paid? i.e., are the founders of the company all of a sudden going to put them on themselves on 140 grand a year? Maybe there'll be some back pay on the time they've spent for bootstrapping it. And this happens, right? It's how do you blow up $1 million? I've seen this happen a couple of times. I'm guilty of it, right? I got funding for Take 5. I put myself on a pretty reasonable wage. Number one, Perth was expensive at the time, but I would not do that moving forward. Lesson learned. And I've also seen it with a couple of startups that successful raises that effectively spent it frivolously.
That's an interesting point though, because I wouldn't invest in a company where the founder wasn't paying themselves, because I'm like
skin in the game.
No issue with the founder paying themselves.
Yeah, but it can't be outrageous, obviously. But it better be livable, because basically, if you're not paying yourself a livable wage, then where the fuck are you getting your money? Because it's not from the thing that you're meant to be working on to get me money.
Any savvy investor would expect that you should pay, if you're working full time on a product, you should pay yourself a livable wage, but just don't be extortionate with it. So that, I guess the advice there is factor in a wage for yourself when asking for cash, but don't take the piss.
It's like your livable is like living outside the golden triangle. Yeah. You're not paying yourself
Well, put
enough
it this
to
way,
live in.
you can survive between 60 and 80 a year. Would you agree? Quite comfortably. Now, I think that's a reasonable wage, provided you're delivering on what you're telling them that you're going to deliver on. The golden rule is under promise, over deliver. Don't promise the world. Don't promise stuff you can't deliver on. Promise what you can deliver on, and try and outdo yourself.
That's the opposite of a lot of startups today, where they promise the world and work with it.
Again, it's chicken and egg, right? Yeah, exactly. You're trying to sell someone, so they're going to fund you.
But surely the venture capitalists are familiar with people over-promising, so they can see it coming, and they can kind of see through what you're trying to say.
That's your private investors. Like
your seed is, I think, cashed up. People with cash that are looking for somewhere to put it,
It's like an angel style,
and are somewhat not, and they're not that risk averse.
Yeah. They want a bit of an adventure. No one's putting seed capital into a company who's risk averse. Yeah. Because otherwise they'd just put their money into an ETF.
Yeah, exactly. Sit back and just get the annuity. Yeah.
Buy BHP shares and then you're done. But that's boring, and that's what Perth people do, and that's also why Tech Society exists as well. It's just to express that we could be doing more.
Well, my other recommendation, if it's worth anything, is talk to people. Just chat. Don't feel like your fantastic idea, if you divulge it to people, they're going to just fucking run away with it, because it's not going to fucking happen.
Man, I get so frustrated when people are like, I'm not going to tell you.
You have to sign an NDA. Let's sign this document.
It's funny that there is still a culture of signing off on NDAs. It's still there.
I see it to a point. Fair enough. Public listed entity, stuff like that. There's regulations you got to go by. But frankly, your jet ski venture, fantastic. I don't fucking know anything about jet skis. You do it. Good luck. I'll help you build it. I'm happy to help you build it. Frankly, I think you pose a pretty decent business model. But I'm not going to run away and start it. I don't even know how to fucking use a jet ski.
Yeah, Zuckerberg, the jet ski economy.
Yeah.
People are scared of that. And I think it's people that are less experienced with running business. Because ideas are cheap.
Yeah. Any fucking... Watch Silicon Valley, right? You see Silicon Valley?
Such a good show.
I love that show. But that's all about people just fucking each other over.
It's more educational and more of a documentary than you...
Yeah. I actually found the stuff that it is very relatable.
The other side is potential startup founders finding someone who will invest some money and then giving them fuck all equity. Oh, you're going to fund it, but I'm only going to give you 10%. Yeah, it's a total...
Again, cash is king. Yeah. And something that my brother passed on to me, and my brother's done quite well for himself, is a little bit of something's better than a whole lot of nothing.
Absolutely.
I'd
rather a slice of a gigantic pizza than
holding on to 100% of fuck all. Yeah.
We're just getting the garlic bread.
Yeah. The fact is,
no garlic bread for us.
I mean, to a degree, no VC is going to try and fuck you over, at least on seed. And any investor with a risk appetite isn't going to want to make you disgruntled to begin with. That's not productive at all. You're better off striking up a deal where everyone's happy, making sure that it's all on the table to start with, making sure everything is divulged and everyone agrees, and then everyone moves forward.
So stepping back a bit, how do I find this person? Where do I go? Who do I talk to? What do I do to find someone who would fund my venture?
I don't think John's asking hypothetically, by the way. Like he wants to know where is this guy?
He's listening right now.
Can we have his phone number?
You either have to network
You have to network anyway.
But so this networking, am I heading to a co-working space and talking to people? Am I going to meetups? Am I paying for someone?
To a degree, right? A co-working space is going to get you to a point, but let's face it, you're diluted with the other 500 businesses that are trying to get the same thing.
Everyone's looking for a date at a co-working place.
Yeah, you are better off. What is the best way? It's a good question.
Is it still golf clubs?
Yeah,
it's not golf clubs. I tell you what,
you have to save someone's life.
you have to network and you have to make sure you know people. It all comes down to who you know. Some people try and know people. Sorry, Alex. Some people try and know people. They will effectively pay the exorbitant fees, put their kids through school, a private school. Their kids end up playing with kids that their dad's a hedge fund manager. That's how you get in.
So it's like the most unlikely places. It's not like a thing you do on purpose. It's just you just put yourself out there enough.
You got to strategize your network, man. Yeah, that's how people do that. What else? Join a club in a reasonable, prestigious area. Talk to everyone there. Find out who has influence.
I think just being open enough to meet people, and that's enough and strategically go to the right place is enough.
Speak to an accountant. Again, I'll plug JBC here. JBC, the amount of business that comes through JBC, new ventures, businesses looking to do deals with other businesses. Yeah, the amount of deals that get done through JBC is significant.
It sounds like
you're not going to get that with all accountants. But
especially the big four.
There's stuff out there. The big four are the top end of town. You'll be out $250,000 before.
It's interesting because it sounds like for an entrepreneurial accounting firm, a lot of traffic goes through that would be startups, funding, all that kind of stuff at JBC.
The approach at JBC, again, shameless plug. It is what it is, right? But what we will tend to do is, you guys roll in, for example. We'll take what you've got and effectively what you're looking for. We'll then go, right, we've got 15 clients that you could potentially talk to number one, sell your service to straight away, or number two, they have a service that could either complement what you're offering, or they could offer you advice on how to best do it. Our first move is to go, right, here's 15 phone numbers. You guys go out, make contact, start networking. And now a word from our sponsors.
We believe that you can create art and beauty with technology. We think big. We move quietly. We are Ninja Software.
All right, let's jump back in.
We were on a pretty decent topic. We just covered Juicero and the fuck around that was.
It's probably worth talking about the hustle that we have to do in Perth to make things happen. Because running a business, a safe business, is usually mining or property related, as we've talked about. But when there's no support network for like high risk ventures in Perth. So one of the topics that you're passionate about that we have here is that just the grind and the what gets you up in the morning to run a business. What is it that makes you look to the future? What is it that makes you wake up in the morning, open your eyes, and tell yourself, let's go to work?
Financial security. Unfortunately, John, some of it is about the money. Let's be perfectly
beautiful.
honest.
That's a beautiful answer.
Yeah. It's so I can wake up and make the decision as to whether I'm going to go to the beach today.
It's about financial independence.
Yeah. That's what it's about. I'm happy to put in as much work as possible so in a few years' time, I can get up and make my own fucking decision.
It's funny because we spoke to a previous podcast person and podcast guest, and that's it. Financial security is what drives people.
Yeah, getting out of the rat race. Not being worried about paying your rent.
Yeah, and also it was, but the thing is, in Perth, it's actually quite comfortable to just get a salary, and the income you get from a salary in Australia is good. You can get by comfortably. You become middle class. You can get a house. Live your life.
Yeah, some people are happy with that, man.
Yeah.
Look, at the end of the day, if that's what you're happy with, do it. My father-in-law, he worked as a teacher, worked for a good 50 years, has retired now, and he's a pretty happy dude. He just rolls around and does what he wants. It comes down to whether... And look, he's got a couple of houses. He's pretty comfortable, but he can't just bugger off to Ibiza for some festival. He can't just take 3 weeks off to go travel to some place without obviously having to budget for it for a year and a half.
So you hustle now to get freedom later.
That's the difference. Yeah. You just want to be free to do what you want.
I like that.
That I think is what the grind is for. Yeah. You can be as happy as you need. You can have a good family life and be restricted, or you can just put the effort in now and grind like a motherfucker. Yeah, the grind's wicked. The grind's fun. It's a roller coaster. In my experience, wicked highs. Rolling out of a potential client meeting, they're interested in your product, and you're like, fuck yeah, this is great. This is what I've done it for. And then the next week, you're sitting in with your developers, and they're telling you,
we're going to eat noodles this week.
Yeah, or fucking, we didn't account for this. We're going to have to fix this up.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
But you just grind out of it. Just keep pushing.
You've got to be an optimist, right? You can't do this shit as a pessimist.
I think there comes a point where reality needs to set in.
When is that, though?
Well, there's no point. There's no point.
Is that when you're filing for Chapter 11, or is when do you let reality ruin the show?
I think early. To be honest, why let someone string themselves out? I don't see an issue with grinding, but I don't see an issue. I mean, I do see an issue with grinding yourself into the...
This is pragmatic entrepreneurship, basically.
Eventually, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
We all know that guy, right? I mean, I can think of someone right off the top of my head. He probably wouldn't know I'm talking about him, even if you listen to this. But he's been pushing the same shit for 15 years now.
You know what that is, man? You know what that is, and I think I experienced that myself, is as an entrepreneur with an idea that you've thrown basically every bit of your fucking life into.
Even putting your personal relationships at jeopardy. Yeah.
It doesn't matter if that idea is not fucking going to work. You are going to sell the fuck out of it to anybody to try and get it across the line.
Sounds a lot
you've
like...
got everything on it.
I'm smelling a lot like gambling right now. It's like, I put all this money in, time and effort.
All I have left is being able to sell it.
Yeah, if only I can make it back, I'll be fine.
Or just convince people to think how I think about it. It's great.
Also, you see people coming in trying to sell their venture.
We get them early. We get them coming in, and
they're so enthusiastic, right? Yeah. This fucking have you done a Google search? Have you done a basic Google search to see how many competitors you have? Yep, we can't find one. Well, I just spent 5 minutes and I found 50 of them.
Or it's the opposite, where you can't find one because it's not a good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, that's at the end of the day, I would rather see some competitors that can be disrupted than see something that no one is doing. Because if no one's doing it in this day and age, either it's a really, really good brand new idea.
I saw a comment from Jeff Bezos, nonetheless, and his comment was, the real innovators people think are fools.
Yeah, that's true.
Because if people are obviously registering with what your intentions are, then likely it's been done before. The real innovators are considered crazy.
Hang on, Alex has something to say.
Okay, I think there is an element of that. Like a good example is Airbnb, right? Yeah. When the guys are like, this is what we want to do, everyone said, you're dumb. This is not a good idea. Why would anyone want strangers staying in their home? Yeah. It seems stupid, right? Yeah. And they fucking nailed it. And they launched just as a recession was hitting us.
It was timing, right? Economic timing.
That's right, yeah. But generally, I would say the great innovators are the ones that come up with an idea and you hear it and you go, oh, that seems obvious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
And then you actually look and no one's doing it. And you're like, that's the test for me. It's like, oh, that's obvious. Why isn't someone doing it? That to me is a true innovator. It's like a 2020 vision thing where you go, oh, it's obvious, but it's not. Because otherwise someone would have done it already.
I'm of the opinion if something is worth doing, it's probably been done already. and it's a very dangerous thing to assume that no one else has.
I've got we always end on a fun question, and I think I'm standardizing on this one. So, I think, what is, if you were a wrestler's intro song, right? What is your intro song?
That's a fucking good question.
So
I don't think anyone expects
Jeremy
that question.
Wolf walks into a room. What is
He's wearing his
everyone stops and looks. Oh, fuck, it's Jeremy Wolf.
I mean,
What is the song that has just come over on the PA?
I've actually put a bit of thought to that because I do like the UFC.
Nice.
I watch the UFC regularly, and like some fighters, they're like getting in the mood.
Yeah. That's right.
They're like, it's the fucking intense rap song where they're talking about killing people and shit. Yeah, you got your Conor McGregor, the Sunito Conor. She's fucking everyone. The Irish emotions, and then you get the funny guys like the Ben Askren will just rock out to some jig.
Yeah. So what's yours, Jeremy?
I don't even know. It's probably some Weird Al Yankovic song.
Nice. Weird Al is cool.
Amish Paradise or something like that.
Not like White and Nerdy.
Yeah. Yeah, probably White and Nerdy. I think it'd be comical because I don't take myself that seriously.
Nice.
Cool.
And I
All
can't
right.
destroy.
Everyone underestimates you at that point.
Yeah,
eh?
exactly.
Yeah.
You played it's a psychological thing. The smiling assassin.
All right. Thank you so much for being on the
That's
show.
all right. It was fun.
And thank you for being the first guest in our
In a beautiful new place.
in our beautiful new place. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. This has been a fun episode of Tech Society.
Until next time.
Until next time.
And that's the end of this episode of Tech Society. Thanks for listening. And we hope you found it useful and helpful in your own journey. This day in tech history, the International Cometary Explorer passes through the gas tail of comet P/Giacobini-Zinner, the first ever man-made object to pass through the tail of a comet. Tweet us any questions or comments in today's episode at Tech Society. We'll read and respond to every single one. Next step, head to techsociety.fm and sign up to our weekly newsletter. We promise we'll use it for noteworthy information only, no spam. Today's episode was sponsored by Ninja Software, which you can check out over at njs.dev.
Thank you for listening, everyone. I'm Alex.
I'm John.
See you later.
Bye.